In a dramatic display of Ukraine's expanding long-range capabilities, Ukrainian defense forces executed a devastating strike against one of Russia's most critical ammunition storage facilities, triggering massive explosions and shockwaves that were captured on video and shared across social media. The target was the 100th arsenal of Russia's main missile and artillery directorate, known as 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙚𝙤, located in the Kostroma region near the settlement of 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙚𝙤. This precision strike represents a significant escalation in Ukraine's deep strike campaign, demonstrating the country's ability to hit strategic targets located more than 900 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. The attack sparked secondary detonations of stored ammunition, creating powerful blasts that forced local authorities to evacuate nearby villages and caused damage to residential buildings within a 2-kilometer radius of the military complex. Ukrainian officials confirmed that fires broke out across the facility, with satellite imagery appearing to show 4 individual fires burning on the site following the attack. The operation exemplifies Ukraine's strategic shift toward degrading Russia's long-term combat capacity by targeting logistics and supply infrastructure rather than solely focusing on frontline positions. The sophisticated strike was carried out by the SBU's Alpha Group, an elite special forces unit considered among Ukraine's best Spetsnaz operators. A security official speaking to Business Insider confirmed that Alpha forces utilized long-range, deep-strike drones to penetrate Russian airspace and deliver precision strikes against the ammunition arsenal. The Alpha Group has established a formidable reputation for conducting high-profile operations against Russian targets throughout the conflict, including the groundbreaking Operation Spiderweb in June, which targeted Russian air bases, and a first-of-its-kind strike on a Moscow-linked oil tanker in the Mediterranean Sea. These elite operators don't limit themselves to drone operations alone. Alpha forces have also participated in ground combat operations, notably contributing to Ukraine's defense of Pokrovsk in the eastern Donetsk region, one of the conflict's most intense battlegrounds. The dual capability of conducting both long-range strikes and direct ground operations makes Alpha Group an invaluable asset in Ukraine's defensive strategy. According to the security source, the unit continues to work successfully on targeting Russian military and oil facilities, systematically reducing the enemy's ability to provide their army with ammunition and fuel. The 100th 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙚𝙤 arsenal targeted in this strike serves as a crucial node in Russia's military supply chain. According to Ukraine's general staff, this facility functions as a long-term ammunition storage complex that supports Russia's ground forces, airborne forces, and aerospace forces. The arsenal manages the accounting, technical maintenance, storage, and preparation for shipment of artillery shells, as well as tactical and operational tactical missiles. These capabilities make it an irreplaceable hub in Russia's ammunition distribution network, supplying munitions to smaller facilities across the country. Ukrainian military officials emphasized that striking this facility significantly disrupts ammunition supply chains, reduces the operational capabilities of enemy combat units, and complicates offensive operations. The strategic value of targeting such facilities cannot be overstated. Rather than engaging in attritional warfare on the front lines, Ukraine's deep strike campaign aims to create logistical bottlenecks that starve Russian forces of the resources needed to sustain their offensive operations. By hitting these critical reserve hubs, Ukraine is degrading Russia's long-term combat capacity and creating operational challenges that extend far beyond the immediate battlefield. What makes this particular strike historically significant is the unprecedented distance it represents. Located more than 900 kilometers from the Russian-Ukrainian border, the Kostroma arsenal now holds the distinction of being the most distant strategic installation reportedly struck by Ukraine throughout the conflict. This surpasses previous long-range attacks, including strikes against the 51st 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙚𝙤 arsenal near Moscow, demonstrating a remarkable expansion in Ukraine's operational reach. The ability to conduct precision strikes at such distances signals a fundamental shift in the tactical dynamics of the conflict. Ukraine's defense forces are no longer constrained to defensive operations within their borders or limited strikes in border regions. Instead, they have developed the capability to project power deep into Russian territory, threatening facilities that Russian military planners may have previously considered safe from Ukrainian retaliation. This expanded reach forces Russia to disperse its air defense assets more thinly and creates uncertainty about which facilities might be vulnerable to Ukrainian strikes. Amateur videos circulating on social media captured the dramatic aftermath of the strike, showing powerful explosions erupting from the ammunition depot. These secondary detonations are consistent with the ignition of stored munitions, creating a cascade effect where initial explosions trigger additional blasts as fire spreads through the facility. The Ukraine General Staff confirmed that the target was hit and fires were recorded on site, with the full scale of damage still being assessed. Local Russian authorities were forced to announce evacuations as a precautionary measure, moving residents from villages in close proximity to the burning military complex. The powerful shockwaves generated by the ammunition detonations damaged several residential buildings within a 2-kilometer radius, illustrating the magnitude of the explosions. While these reports have not been independently verified, satellite imagery that appears to show 4 distinct fires on the facility provides visual corroboration of the strike's effectiveness. The operational impact extends beyond the immediate destruction. With ammunition supplies disrupted and the facility potentially offline for extended repairs, Russian forces across multiple fronts may experience shortages that affect their combat effectiveness. Artillery units depend on steady ammunition flows to maintain fire support for ground operations, and any interruption in these supply chains can have cascading effects on battlefield performance. The 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙞𝙜𝙝 was not the only target hit during this coordinated operation. Ukrainian forces also struck the Gurkhan Plus fuel depot in the Lipetsk region on the same night, triggering explosions and sparking fires at that facility as well. The simultaneous targeting of both ammunition and fuel storage demonstrates sophisticated operational planning, hitting 2 critical pillars of Russia's military logistics infrastructure in a single coordinated campaign. Additionally, Ukrainian forces targeted Russian UAV command posts in multiple locations, including Pokrovsk in Ukraine's Donetsk region, Valitovka in Russia's Kursk region, and Ghryvoron in Russia's Belgorod region. These strikes against drone control facilities aim to degrade Russia's growing capabilities in unmanned systems, which have become increasingly important in the conflict. A 9S-32 radar station of the S-300V surface-to-air missile system was also destroyed near Novoyanosol in occupied Donetsk region, further weakening Russian air defense capabilities. Ukraine's General Staff also confirmed strikes against concentrations of Russian troops near Staroselye in Russia's Belgorod region, with assessments of enemy losses still ongoing. The diversity of targets hit during this operation, spanning ammunition depots, fuel facilities, UAV command posts, air defense systems, and troop concentrations, illustrates the comprehensive nature of Ukraine's deep strike strategy. This ammunition depot strike is part of Ukraine's 5th confirmed attack against Russian strategic arsenals since the deep strike campaign intensified. Military analysts have described these depots as critical reserve hubs that supply ammunition to Russian forces across multiple fronts, making them high-value targets with strategic significance. By systematically targeting Russia's storage and logistics infrastructure rather than focusing exclusively on frontline units, Ukraine aims to create long-term degradation of Russian combat capabilities. The Ukrainian defense forces have articulated their strategic rationale clearly. They are conducting systematic operations aimed at reducing the military-economic capabilities and offensive potential of Russian occupation forces. All targets struck are directly involved in the armed aggression against Ukraine, making them legitimate military objectives under international law. This strategy serves dual purposes. It provides immediate tactical benefits by disrupting Russian operations while also imposing cumulative strategic costs that compound over time. Since August, Ukraine has stepped up its use of long-range drones to attack Russian energy facilities, putting pressure on a key revenue source that helps fuel Moscow's war efforts. Ukrainian officials have characterized these deep strike operations as the country's way of imposing long-range sanctions on Russia, hitting economic targets that fund the invasion. Ukraine's deep strike campaign has not been limited to land-based targets. In recent weeks, Ukrainian forces have expanded their attacks to maritime targets, striking several oil tankers and oil platforms in the Black Sea, Caspian Sea, and Mediterranean Sea. These operations demonstrate remarkable operational creativity and the ability to project power across multiple domains. The maritime strikes serve to disrupt Russia's oil export revenues, which are crucial for sustaining Moscow's extensive invasion efforts. While Ukraine has mostly targeted oil and gas infrastructure on land, such as depots and ports, the expansion into maritime operations opens new vulnerabilities for Russia's energy sector. Every successful strike against oil tankers or platforms represents lost revenue that Russia cannot invest in military capabilities or use to weather international sanctions. The most recent confirmed maritime strike targeted the 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙞𝙜𝙆 oil depot in Russia's Volgograd region, sparking fires that Russian officials attributed to falling drone debris. Ukrainian General Staff confirmed that the depot provides fuel for Russian military operations, and that damage assessments are ongoing. These strikes form part of a broader Ukrainian strategy that views all Russian rear facilities working for the war against Ukraine as absolutely legitimate targets. Ukraine's success in conducting these long-range strikes reflects significant technological innovation in drone development and operational planning. The ability to strike targets over 900 kilometers from the border requires sophisticated navigation systems, extended flight endurance, and the capacity to evade Russian air defenses across hundreds of kilometers of hostile airspace. Ukrainian engineers and military planners have developed these capabilities largely indigenously, often under wartime conditions with limited resources. The conflict has become a testing ground for drone technology, with both sides engaged in an ongoing offense-defense race to develop new capabilities. Russian forces have adapted their Shahed-type drones by adding integrated cameras and radio control capabilities that allow strikes against moving targets like locomotives. They have also equipped some drones with thermobaric warheads and man-portable air defense systems. Ukraine has responded with its own innovations in both offensive drone capabilities and air defense countermeasures. The Alpha Group's successful strikes demonstrate Ukraine's mastery of long-range drone operations, including mission planning, route selection to avoid air defenses, and precision targeting of critical facilities. These technological and tactical developments will likely influence military thinking about unmanned systems for years to come. Russia's defense ministry claimed to have shot down 360 Ukrainian drones on the day of the 𝙄𝙣𝙨𝙞𝙜𝙆 strike, though they did not specify locations or provide evidence to substantiate this claim. Neither the ministry nor the Russian embassy in the United States responded to requests for comment about the strikes. This pattern of claiming high interception rates while simultaneously suffering successful strikes against strategic facilities suggests limitations in Russia's air defense coverage, particularly in rear areas far from the front lines. The conflict continues to exact a terrible toll on both sides. Following Ukraine's strike on the ammunition depot, Russia launched a massive retaliatory barrage of hundreds of drones and numerous missiles against Ukraine, resulting in at least 4 fatalities in Kyiv. This represented only the second instance in the nearly 4-year conflict that Russia deployed its new powerful hypersonic Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile, targeting western Ukraine as a stark warning to NATO allies supporting Kyiv. Russia's strategy increasingly focuses on incapacitating Ukraine's power grid through strikes on energy infrastructure, aiming to deprive civilians of essential services such as heating, light, and running water during winter months. Ukrainian officials describe this approach as an effort to weaponize winter, using civilian suffering as a tool of war. The Ukrainian Air Force reported that Russia launched 121 drones and 1 Iskander-M missile in a single recent attack, with 94 drones being intercepted. The successful strike on the 𝙄𝙣𝙩 ammunition depot in Kostroma represents more than just a tactical victory. It signals Ukraine's evolving capabilities and strategic approach to the conflict. As the war continues into its third year under current President Trump's administration, Ukraine has demonstrated that defensive operations alone cannot secure the country's future. Instead, Ukraine is taking the fight to Russian territory, targeting the logistics, fuel supplies, and ammunition stockpiles that enable continued aggression. Ukraine's general staff emphasized that defense forces will continue systematic actions aimed at reducing the offensive and military-economic potential of Russian occupation forces, compelling the Russian Federation to cease its armed aggression. Every ammunition depot destroyed, every fuel facility set ablaze, and every supply line disrupted contributes to this strategic objective. The international community watches closely as Ukraine demonstrates innovative military capabilities despite facing a larger adversary with greater resources. The Deep Strike campaign serves multiple purposes. It degrades Russian military capabilities, imposes economic costs through attacks on energy infrastructure, demonstrates Ukraine's resolve to international supporters, and potentially creates leverage for future diplomatic negotiations. The obliteration of Russia's 𝙄𝙣𝙩 ammunition depot in Kostroma stands as a testament to Ukraine's military ingenuity, operational sophistication, and unwavering determination to defend its sovereignty. The massive explosions and shockwaves that rippled across the facility represented more than just destruction. They embodied Ukraine's message that no Russian military installation supporting the invasion is beyond reach. As the Alpha Group and other Ukrainian forces continue their systematic campaign against Russian military and economic targets, the strategic calculus of the conflict continues to evolve. Ukraine has proven that it can strike deep into Russian territory with precision and devastating effect, turning targets once considered safe into vulnerable liabilities. These operations demonstrate that Ukraine is not merely fighting a defensive war, but is actively shaping the battlefield through innovative tactics and bold strategic choices. The fires still burning at the Kostroma ammunition depot serve as a powerful symbol. Ukraine will continue to impose costs on Russia's war machine, targeting the logistics, supplies, and infrastructure that enable continued aggression until peace and sovereignty are restored.